While every builder in Mars Hill rushed to finish their cabin roofs before North Carolina's first autumn frost, 19-year-old Alexander Reed was constructing something his neighbors called dangerous madness. A second roof directly over his first, in the shadow of Grandfather Mountain, where tradition ruled and outsiders faced suspicion. Alex had already learned what it meant to be different, cast out by his military family for being gay, inheriting only his Swiss grandfather Heinrich's remote cabin and cryptic journals. He now faced a new kind of rejection: Marcus Thompson, the county's most experienced contractor who had built structures across the Blue Ridge for 3 decades. Watched Alex work with open disdain. The boy was positioning an outer roof frame exactly 14 inches above his primary cedar shingle roof, creating what appeared to be useless dead space. "You're wasting good timber and adding weight that'll collapse when snow hits," Marcus called out, his voice carrying the authority of someone who'd never been questioned. "This ain't Switzerland." Boy, Thomas Mitchell, the region's surveyor, shook his head as he observed the peculiar construction. The additional lumber would add over 2,000 pounds to a roof system already bearing significant loads. In his professional opinion, the orphaned Reed boy was courting disaster through ignorance. The design violated every principle of efficient Appalachian building that had kept mountain families alive through countless harsh winters. But Alex continued his methodical work, measuring hemp ropes stretched between wooden stakes driven into the shingles at precise intervals. Each morning he climbed onto his roof and added another section of the secondary structure, following detailed diagrams from Heinrich's leather-bound journals written in a mixture of German and English. The old man had called it a breathing roof, explaining how still air trapped between 2 barriers created insulation superior to solid wood while distributing weight through carefully calculated support points. The community's concern deepened when Reverend James Caldwell visited the construction site. As the settlement's informal leader, Caldwell felt responsible for the welfare of every soul, especially those without family guidance. What he saw troubled him profoundly. The teenager had erected a complete secondary roof frame supported by 47 vertical posts anchored directly into the main structure, all to be covered with rough-hewn oak planks rather than proper shingles. "Son," Caldwell said gently, removing his hat as he studied the bewildering construction, "this represents more lumber than most families use for an entire cabin. Your grandfather's methods might have worked in the Alps, but we build differently here for good reason. The mountains of North Carolina demand proven techniques, not European experiments that could leave you buried under collapsed timber when the worst weather arrives." Alex paused his work, hammer in hand, sweat beading despite the cool mountain air. His grandfather's journals contained precise calculations for snow loads exceeding 100 pounds per square foot, mathematical formulas for thermal resistance, and diagrams showing how the air gap would maintain steady interior temperatures while the outer roof shed accumulating weight. But explaining complex engineering principles to skeptical neighbors felt impossible when most already viewed him as the strange boy who'd brought shame to a military family. The whispers had started the moment word spread about Alex's return to Heinrich's cabin. People remembered the scandal from months earlier, when Colonel William Reed, a decorated Gulf War veteran, had quietly requested a transfer rather than face questions about his disgraced son. The boy's sexuality had become town knowledge after his older brother Tyler, serving in the Army during the height of don't ask, don't tell paranoia, had cut all contact to protect his own military career. Now watching Alex labor alone on his impossible roof design, the community saw confirmation of their suspicions. A young man without proper guidance, without the steady influence of a father's wisdom, naturally fell into impractical pursuits that endangered not only himself but potentially others who might follow his misguided example. The breathing roof represented more than poor engineering judgment. It symbolized what happened when traditional family structures collapsed and left vulnerable individuals to make dangerous decisions without appropriate oversight. Yet Alex worked on, driven by something deeper than defiance. Every precisely positioned support post, every carefully measured air gap, every hour spent translating his grandfather's technical German into practical construction steps represented more than following inherited knowledge. He was building a shelter that could protect not just himself, but anyone who might need sanctuary when the worst storms arrived. In a community that had cast him out, he was preparing to offer refuge. If stories of resilience and hidden wisdom resonate with you, don't forget to like and subscribe to Heart Stories for more inspiring tales of people who built something beautiful from the pieces others left behind. October in the Blue Ridge Mountains brought the kind of crisp air that warned of hard weather ahead. And Alex Reed found himself working faster as community skepticism grew into open hostility. His double roof construction had consumed nearly 3 weeks of solo labor, requiring over 800 board feet of cut lumber that represented his grandfather Heinrich's entire winter supply stockpile. Each morning brought new criticism from neighbors who viewed his methods as wasteful European nonsense that had no place in practical American mountain building. Klaus Weber emerged as an unexpected voice of recognition in the growing chorus of disapproval. The 40-something German immigrant had settled in Madison County 5 years earlier, drawn by the familiar mountain terrain that reminded him of his Bavarian homeland. Unlike the other settlers, Klaus studied Alex's construction with something approaching comprehension rather than bewilderment. He had seen his grandfather's sketches of alpine structures that used similar air gap principles for thermal regulation in climates far harsher than anything North Carolina could produce. The mathematics makes sense. Klaus told Marcus Thompson during one of their informal gatherings at Caldwell's store, in the old country, double wall and double roof construction kept families alive through winters that lasted 6 months. Still air provides insulation equal to solid timber, but without the weight or material cost. The boy follows principles proven through centuries of mountain survival. Thompson dismissed this observation as immigrant confusion about proper American methods. But Klaus recognized something familiar in Alex's patient, methodical approach. As construction progressed, Alex began finding small tokens of support from unexpected sources. Reverend Caldwell, despite his public concerns, quietly left bundles of hemp rope and metal brackets beside the cabin door. The elderly minister struggled between his genuine worry for the boy's safety and his growing recognition that Alex possessed knowledge beyond his years. Caldwell had served military chaplain duty in Germany during the occupation period, where he had witnessed European building techniques that achieved remarkable efficiency through principles American construction had never explored. The 14-inch air gap that mystified every observer served multiple critical functions that Alex understood through Heinrich's detailed journals. During summer months, the outer roof would deflect direct solar radiation before it could penetrate to the inner structure, while thermal chimney effects would draw hot air upward through carefully positioned vents. In winter, the trapped air would remain relatively still, providing thermal resistance equivalent to 6 inches of solid wood while weighing a fraction of additional timber. More importantly, the design addressed structural challenges through load distribution that conventional single-roof construction could never achieve. Snow accumulating on the outer roof would rest on a framework specifically engineered to bear extreme weight, while the inner roof remained completely unburdened except for its own load and the fixed weight of the support posts. The outer roof's steeper pitch of 42 degrees would cause snow to slide before reaching dangerous accumulations, creating a self-clearing system that standard 30-degree pitches could not match. Alex discovered an ally in Klaus Weber's gradual friendship, though their relationship developed slowly due to community suspicions about both men. Klaus had never married despite his age, leading to whispered speculation about his own personal inclinations. The two found themselves working together during evening hours, when fewer neighbors could observe their collaboration. Klaus possessed woodworking skills learned in Bavaria, while Alex contributed engineering knowledge from Heinrich's technical documentation. Their conversations revealed shared experiences of displacement and judgment. Klaus had fled Germany not just for economic opportunity, but to escape the social restrictions that made men like him perpetual outsiders. He recognized in Alex the same careful isolation he had practiced for years, the way certain people learned to move through hostile communities without drawing unnecessary attention while maintaining inner dignity and purpose. The Breathing Roof project became something larger than individual shelter as Alex and Klaus discussed its potential applications. Traditional Appalachian construction left families vulnerable during extreme weather events that claimed lives with predictable regularity. a building method that provided superior thermal performance while reducing structural failure risks could transform how mountain communities prepared for the worst winters. But introducing change required overcoming generations of established practice and cultural resistance to foreign methods. November brought early cold that tested every building in Mars Hill, and the results began separating theoretical knowledge from practical performance. Marcus Thompson's conventional cabin required constant fire maintenance to keep interior temperatures above freezing during the first serious cold snaps. By mid-November, Thompson had burned through nearly half his winter fuel supply, watching his single-layer roof radiate precious heat upward into the mountain air. Meanwhile, Alex's double roof system demonstrated thermal efficiency that defied local expectations. The air gap created insulation that captured and retained warmth with mechanical precision, allowing modest fires to maintain comfortable interior temperatures that single roof structures could not achieve even with massive fuel consumption. The physics became visible on the coldest mornings when every other cabin showed frost formations on interior ceiling surfaces while Alex's remained dry and warm to the touch. Understanding how traditions preserve wisdom while adaptation ensures survival becomes essential when facing challenges that established methods cannot address. Sometimes the most important innovations come not from rejecting the past, but from rediscovering forgotten knowledge that once helped communities thrive under conditions we may face again. December arrived in the Blue Ridge with a stillness that veteran mountain dwellers recognized as ominous, and old Jake Morrison felt it in his bones like an approaching freight train. The 73-year-old Korean War survivor had witnessed the brutal winter of 1957 that killed 23 people across the region when standard construction methods failed catastrophically under extreme conditions. Now he studied the weather patterns with growing unease, recognizing the same pressure drops in atmospheric stillness that preceded nature's deadliest tests of human preparation. Morrison visited Alex's cabin on a gray afternoon when snow clouds gathered against Grandfather Mountain like gathering armies. He examined the double roof structure with the eye of someone who understood that theoretical knowledge meant nothing when survival hung in the balance. The boy had created something that addressed the specific failures Morrison had witnessed decades earlier. Conventional roofs collapsed under snow loads they were never designed to bear, while thermal inefficiency forced families to choose between freezing or depleting fuel supplies that could not be replenished during extended storms. Your grandfather knew something about mountain winters. Morrison told Alex while studying the support post configuration that distributed weight across 47 separate points. These mountains can dump snow that breaks the back of any normal roof, but you've built something that sheds weight before it accumulates dangerous loads. The old man traced the steep pitch of the outer roof with his weathered finger, understanding how gravity would work as an ally rather than an enemy when the worst weather arrived. Klaus Weber found himself drawn deeper into Alex's project as the friendship between the two men evolved beyond construction collaboration. Their evening conversations revealed layers of shared experience that went far beyond their mutual status as community outsiders. Klaus had fled Bavaria not just for economic opportunity, but to escape the suffocating social restrictions that made men like him perpetual targets of suspicion and judgment. He recognized in Alex the same careful vigilance he had practiced for years, the way certain people learn to move through hostile environments without provoking unnecessary confrontation while maintaining inner strength and dignity. Their relationship developed slowly, built on shared work and gradual trust rather than dramatic declarations. In a community where both men faced various forms of social isolation, they discovered that authentic connection could grow from common purpose and mutual respect. The mathematical precision of Alex's construction impressed Klaus with its sophistication, revealing engineering knowledge that surpassed anything local builders had encountered. Heinrich's journals contain calculations for thermal dynamics that anticipated building science principles by decades, using empirical observation and generational refinement to achieve results that modern technology would later confirm through laboratory testing. The breathing roof operated according to principles that mountain dwellers had developed through centuries of adaptation to extreme conditions without formal scientific training. The 14-inch air gap provided thermal resistance equal to 6 inches of solid timber while weighing significantly less. creating a buffer zone that moderated temperature swings to keep interiors cooler during sunny winter days and warmer during frigid nights. By late December, the performance differences had become mathematically undeniable to anyone willing to examine the evidence objectively. Alex had consumed exactly 3 cords of firewood while maintaining interior temperatures ranging between 58 and 65 degrees. Marcus Thompson had burned 9 cords to achieve interior temperatures averaging 44 degrees on the coldest nights, with his ceiling often showing ice crystals by morning despite continuous fire maintenance. The contrast troubled every assumption Thompson had accumulated during his building career, forcing him to confront the possibility that his expertise might be incomplete rather than absolute. Traditional methods that had served adequately during mild winters revealed their limitations when tested against sustained periods of extreme cold that pushed conventional construction beyond its design parameters. Klaus began experiencing subtle changes in how certain community members treated him as his friendship with Alex became more visible. Some neighbors who had previously maintained polite distance now offered barely concealed hostility, viewing his association with the Reed boy a confirmation of their suspicions about both men. The social pressure created stress that Klaus had hoped to leave behind in Europe, but he found strength in Alex's quiet determination to continue his work despite mounting criticism. Their shared meals became small rituals of resistance against a community that sought to isolate them separately and together. Klaus contributed knowledge of alpine cooking techniques that maximized nutrition from limited ingredients, while Alex shared stories from Heinrich's journals about surviving harsh winters through community cooperation rather than individual competition. The approaching weather system that Jake Morrison had predicted began manifesting in ways that confirmed his worst fears. Temperature fluctuations exceeded normal ranges, while barometric pressure dropped to levels that suggested a major storm system building far to the northwest. The signs pointed toward a weather event that would test every structure and every family's preparation in ways that revealed the true adequacy of their survival strategies. Alex continued his methodical preparation, but now his work carried additional urgency as he realized that his breathing roof might soon face the ultimate test of its engineering principles. The design had performed well during moderate cold, but extreme conditions would prove whether Heinrich's calculations could protect not only Alex himself, but potentially others who might need shelter when conventional structures failed. Learning to recognize the difference between innovation and tradition helps us understand that the wisest choices often combine ancient knowledge with adaptive thinking, especially when facing challenges that require both proven principles and creative solutions. February 3rd, 1894, arrived with the kind of supernatural silence that mountain people learned to fear more than thunder. And when the storm finally struck Mars Hill, it brought devastation that would reshape every assumption about building and survival in the Blue Ridge Mountains. The Great Appalachian Blizzard swept down from the Ohio Valley with winds exceeding 90 miles per hour and temperatures plunging to 34 degrees below zero, trapping Madison County in conditions that would persist for 21 consecutive days without relief. Marcus Thompson's roof began failing on the 4th night in ways that threatened his family's existence. His conventional single-layer construction, built according to 3 decades of mountain experience, groaned under snow loads that exceeded 55 pounds per square foot as accumulation reached heights that defied his worst-case planning. The weight of frozen precipitation combined with wind-driven buildup created stress concentrations that his roof beams had never been designed to bear. At 3:47 in the morning on February 7th, the center beam cracked with a sound like a rifle shot that woke Thompson's wife and 4 children moments before complete structural collapse. They escaped into the blizzard carrying only blankets, watching their home and everything they owned disappear under tons of snow and splintered timber. The family faced exposure death in conditions that could kill within hours, their survival depending entirely on reaching shelter that could protect them from the killing storm. Thomas Mitchell experienced similar catastrophic failure when his surveyor's cabin proved inadequate for sustained extreme conditions that pushed conventional construction beyond all design parameters. Horizontal winds drove snow directly against rear roof surfaces where it accumulated faster than normal pitch angles could shed the growing burden. By the 5th day, Mitchell's roof showed dangerous cracks in 3 major support beams, forcing evacuation before complete collapse buried his family alive. 7 cabins failed entirely between February 5th and 12th, their single-layer roofs succumbing to snow loads exceeding 70 pounds per square foot combined with thermal stress that split timber and buckled support structures. The Henderson family lost their infant daughters when their roof fell without warning at midnight, the structural failure occurring too suddenly for escape. Old Jake Morrison died on February 9th from heart failure, brought on by the exhaustion of constant snow removal, his 73-year-old body giving out while trying to save his home from inevitable collapse. Alex Reed's double-roof cabin weathered the catastrophe with mechanical reliability that seemed to mock the destruction occurring throughout the settlement. The outer roof, specifically engineered to bear loads far exceeding any possible snow accumulation, showed no stress under weights that destroyed conventional structures built according to accepted regional standards. The 14-inch air gap between roof layers provided not just thermal insulation, but crucial structural separation that prevented catastrophic failure modes. Snow accumulated on the outer roof, while the inner roof remained completely unburdened, bearing only its own weight and the fixed load of the support post system. More critically, the outer roof's steeper 42-degree pitch caused snow to slide in regular avalanches before reaching dangerous accumulations, creating a self-clearing mechanism that conventional 30-degree slopes could not achieve under extreme conditions. The thermal dynamics proved equally decisive for human survival when other factors beyond a structural integrity determined who lived and who died during the extended crisis. While collapsed cabins exposed occupants to killing cold and intact structures struggled to maintain temperatures above freezing despite burning furniture for fuel, Alex's air gap insulation kept his interior at 52 degrees with minimal wood consumption. Community desperation reached critical levels by February 10th as multiple families faced homelessness and certain death by exposure in conditions that offered no mercy for inadequate preparation. Marcus Thompson fought through chest-deep snow to Alex's door, his breath forming ice crystals in minus 29-degree air, while his fingers lost feeling despite heavy mittens. Behind him, connected by ropes to prevent separation in the blinding snowfall, came his wife Catherine and their 4 children carrying salvaged blankets from their destroyed home. Klaus Weber arrived hours later, supporting his elderly mother, whose conventional cabin had lost its roof entirely during the storm's 8th day. Followed by the Patterson family, the surviving Hendersons still mourning their lost daughter, and others whose homes lay crushed or stood on the verge of imminent collapse. By February 14th, Alex's cabin sheltered 27 people in a space designed for individual occupation. Yet the double roof structure continued maintaining interior temperatures that never dropped below 48 degrees, even with added humidity and body heat. The mathematical precision of Heinrich's engineering became visible through performance that saved lives, while conventional wisdom proved inadequate for conditions that exceeded normal parameters. Alex's breathing roof had not just provided superior shelter, it had become the difference between survival and death for an entire community that had dismissed his methods as dangerous foolishness. Margaret Caldwell gave birth to a healthy son on February 18th, delivered in the warm safety of Alex's cabin, while her own home stood roofless and filled with snow. The infant's survival represented more than personal joy. It demonstrated how traditional alpine engineering provided conditions for life when standard American building methods failed under nature's most demanding tests. Sometimes the greatest innovations come from those who society overlooks, and the wisdom to protect others often develops in hearts that have known rejection themselves, teaching us that true strength reveals itself not in judgment, but in shelter offered freely when storms reveal our shared vulnerability. March brought sustained thaw to Madison County, and with it came Marcus Thompson's public acknowledgement that Alex Reed's double roof technique represented superior engineering rather than the youthful foolishness he had initially dismissed. Thompson began dismantling the remains of his collapsed cabin on March 12th, salvaging usable timber, while planning reconstruction that would follow Alex's precise specifications down to the 14-inch air gap and 47 support posts positioned on calculated intervals. "I thought I knew mountain building after 3 decades," Thompson announced at the settlement's monthly gathering, his voice carrying the humility of someone whose absolute certainty had been shattered by undeniable evidence. "But this young man showed me I was constructing roofs that couldn't survive real weather. Every structure I build from now on gets a double roof system, and I don't care who questions my judgment about European methods. Thompson's endorsement carried significant influence throughout the Blue Ridge region, where his reputation as an experienced contractor had shaped dozens of construction projects across multiple counties. The breathing roof techniques spread rapidly through immigrant networks as German, Swiss, and Austrian settlers recognized methods their own ancestors had practiced in mountain communities that faced winter conditions far more severe than anything North Carolina typically experienced. By late 1894, 19 new structures within 40 miles of Mars Hill incorporated Alex's double roof design, with construction requests arriving from settlements Alex had never visited. County officials asked him to consult on future building projects in vulnerable mountain locations, acknowledging that his methods had prevented multiple deaths during the February catastrophe that had claimed 58 lives across the broader Appalachian region. The economic impact became measurable during the following winter season when firewood consumption in double-roof cabins averaged 45% lower than conventional structures. This represented thousands of cords of timber that families no longer needed to cut, haul, and store, reducing both labor requirements and environmental pressure on surrounding forests while improving energy security for isolated mountain communities. Klaus Weber's relationship with Alex deepened into something that transcended friendship, as both men discovered that authentic connection could flourish even in hostile social environments. Their shared meals and evening conversations created a small sanctuary of acceptance within a community that viewed both men with varying degrees of suspicion. Klaus had found in Alex not just a construction partner, but someone who understood the careful vigilance required to maintain dignity while living as a perpetual outsider. The Breathing Roof project evolved into something larger than an individual shelter, as Alex and Klaus discussed establishing a building cooperative that could teach alpine construction techniques to mountain families facing similar vulnerabilities. Traditional Appalachian methods left entire communities exposed during extreme weather events, but introducing systematic change required overcoming generations of established practice and cultural resistance to foreign innovation. Alex began receiving correspondence from engineering departments at regional universities interested in studying the thermal dynamics and structural principles behind his grandfather Heinrich's calculations. The mathematical precision of the air gap design impressed academics who recognized that empirical knowledge had achieved results that formal building science would not document for several more decades. Reverend Caldwell emerged as an unexpected advocate for the double roof program, using his community influence to encourage families to consider construction methods that prioritize survival over tradition. The minister had witnessed too much preventable suffering during the February blizzard to maintain neutrality about building techniques that could save lives when conventional wisdom proved inadequate. The social dynamics around Alex's identity began shifting subtly as his technical expertise earned grudging respect from neighbors who had previously focused primarily on his sexuality as grounds for judgment. Community members who needed his consultation for their own building projects found it difficult to maintain complete hostility towards someone whose knowledge had become essential for their family's safety. Klaus started a small woodworking cooperative that employed several young men who had difficulty finding steady work in the traditional economy, creating economic opportunities while teaching skills that supported the growing demand for double roof construction. The enterprise provided both men with greater financial security and social legitimacy within a community that valued productive contribution over personal conformity. David Chen, a young architectural engineer from Asheville, who had heard about Alex's innovative construction methods, arrived in Mars Hill during late spring to document the breathing roof principles for potential application in larger building projects. Chen's professional interest evolved into personal attraction as he recognized in Alex a combination of technical brilliance and quiet strength that commanded his deep respect and growing affection. The relationship between Alex and David developed carefully, both men understanding the risks of visibility in a region where tolerance remained fragile despite recent changes in community attitudes. Their connection grew through shared fascination with building science and engineering innovation, creating a foundation that could support both professional collaboration and personal intimacy. Alex's double roof design became a symbol of how marginalized individuals could contribute essential knowledge to communities that had initially rejected them, demonstrating that innovation often emerged from perspectives that mainstream society overlooked or dismissed. The breathing roof represented more than superior construction technique. It embodied the principle that wisdom could come from unexpected sources when survival demanded openness to new approaches. Have you ever discovered that the people society overlooks often possess the very knowledge needed to help everyone thrive? Alex's story reminds us that true innovation frequently comes from those who understand both tradition and the necessity of adaptation. Like and subscribe to Heart Stories for more inspiring tales of resilience, acceptance, and the courage to build something better from the foundation of rejection transformed into strength.